I've been channeling my whole life. I've always felt spirit physically. If you can see, my left hand is numb right now. I can hear an inner knowing, a sense of guided direction, a sense of wisdom that says, yes. What's happening in my brain?
What is happening in your brain are three things.
Gabrielle Bernstein, a role model for spiritual seekers.
This is my conversation with my new friend, Lisa Miller. Welcome.
I'm so excited.
How cool that we have a teacher of neuroscience at Columbia University talking to us about our spirit guide. Both of us like to lead with practice because the practice can then give you the experience, which can then help lock in the understanding. I want to have the spiritual experience.
I'm going to invite you into a 90-second practice. It's called hosting your council. Close your eyes. I'm going to close mine. And in your inner chamber, I invite you to set before you a table. This is your table. And to your table, you may invite anyone, living or deceased, who truly has your best interest in mind. And with them all sitting there, ask them if they love you. Ask them if they love you. And now you may invite your higher self, the part of you that is so much more than anything you may have or not have, anything you may have done or not done, your true, eternal, higher self. And ask you if you love you. And now finally, you may invite your higher power, whatever your word, however you know, God, the universe, your higher power, and ask if they love you. And now with all of these people sitting here right now, what do they need to share? What do they need to tell you now? What do you need to know? And when you're ready, I invite you back. This is your counsel, and they always are there for you. Who shows up may change depending on where we are in our journey, and we can ask counsel what is on our heart. Those who truly have your best interest in mind, your higher self, your higher power. These are transcendent relationships. And we are built to be in an authentic, lived relationship with everyone in council. We are designed for transcendent relationship, and it is real.
We sat down and Lisa saw me, and you feel so seen. And she said, your courage is faith. And I looked at her and I was like, yeah, yes, friend, yes. That the ability to stand in the seat and the truth of what you know to be real, or the vulnerability and the authenticity of who you believe you are, and to be in the service of the divine and to speak for a God of your own understanding only can come from the courage that comes from true faith. And what we just experienced just now with our team, or what do you call them? The
council.
The council. Yes. So do you want to know who my council is?
Yes.
So Dr. Wayne Dyer, my late mentor and dear friend. Louise Hay, my late mentor and dear friend, who I with all the time. My grandmother, and those are the deceased. And then my vice president of brand, who has been working with me for 12 years and who I believe her soul and my soul have a contract to come together to do this work. That I won't do it without her. And so that was my counsel. And they kept saying, they were sort of like, strap on your seatbelt, Gabby, like we're going, we got stuff happening here. And it's like, they kept being like, it's time to rise up, it's time to rise up, it's time to rise up.
And what is so awesome and jaw-dropping is that this is how we are made. We are made. So who here felt loved? Every single person felt loved. Who here felt guided, that there was a message delivered or a sense, some affirmation or knowing? Who felt that knowing that counsel is real and you are built to be awakened to your counsel every day? You will never be alone.
Yep.
You are loved, you are guided, you are never alone. That is your birthright, to know that. You are built with your awakened brain to see into the deeper nature of life, the force, who I call God, reuse your word, the universe. That force, of course, is real. And so every day of our lives, we have the opportunity to be in a lived, vibrant, daily relationship with force. And I call that faith.
Yep.
Do you
Yep.
see?
The courage of faith is that knowing that you are loved, guided, and never alone. That knowing is where we come from. And then we forget. The work of a spiritual student is to unlearn the fears of this world, to remember that we are loved, guided, and never alone. I've been channeling my whole life. I've always felt spirit physically. Like if you can see, my left hand is numb right now. So I'm channeling in this moment because I've chosen to, because it's you, with you, your guides are here, my guides are here, your guides are here. I feel this container in this room that's very safe. And so I'm deciding to open up. So my left hand goes numb. So that's a cue for me that I'm channeling. Sometimes I'll hold the energy with this hand. And then I can hear just an inner knowing, a sense of guided direction, a sense of wisdom that says, yes. That's why I often feel that I can have words that may not be my own. What's happening in my brain?
What is happening in your brain are three things. Okay? The bonding network, which is the same bonding network engaged when we're babies in the arms of our caretakers, your parents, lets us know, not just believe, but perceive that we are loved and we are held, we are cradled.
So the bonding network of the brain is where?
So the bonding network is the frontal temporal network. It's a circuit, right? And it lets us perceive that sense. In the worst moment, we don't fall through an abyss. When everything outwardly falls apart, we're caught. That is our capacity to perceive the universe, who I call God, catching us. As you're caught when you're 4 and you're in a tree, your parents pull you out. You are guided. So the message that came true, that felt sense that came through in your counsel, that direction, that is a shift in your attention network from I've got to have it. This is what I wanted. Here's what I had planned. I'm going to date him or her. I'm going to go to this school. I want this job. That's the a priori plan. Our big vision is often based on archival information. Things I wanted when I was 7. I wanted to be a cheerleader. Right? Things I wanted that I was told were valuable. But where you're going when you shift from I've got to have it to what is life showing me now, the ventral attention network has information that has yet to unfold before us. It's a shift from I've got to have it to what is life showing me now, the dorsal to ventral attention network.
And so when we make the shift from I've got to have it to what's life showing me, what's God showing me, is that shift available to us when we activate the bonding circuit?
When we use our awakened brain, this all happens at once. They
Right.
train together. We know that we're counsel, that we're loved. And in this holding, loving consciousness field, the universe, there is inherent information and guidance.
The bonding network, that is the same activation in the brain that we feel when our mother holds us and we feel safe. Is that correct?
Exactly.
But that's the same network that can be activated when we're with our counsel.
And exactly, as we sat with counsel, the bonding network came on. So too, as we sat with counsel, came on a shift in our attention network to what does counsel need to let you know? What do your transcendent relationships, God, your ancestors tell you now, right? And the third was the parietal region that is so beautiful. You'll love this, Gabrielle. It puts in and out hard boundaries so that you're sitting here and I'm sitting here, and I might be from Dallas and you might be from St. Louis or New York. Doesn't matter, because while we are a point, we are also a wave. While we are distinct, we're also part of the oneness.
I'll tell you a cool story and then I want you to unpack this, okay? This is what I want you to unpack from a neuroscience perspective, but also just loved, guided, and never alone. Okay. The day that Grammy died, she fell and she had an injury. She was either going to live with a lot of pain or she was going to hopefully pass. And weeks had been going by with a lot of pain. And I was leading a workshop, but I have to get there and I'm late. But I sit down for some reason. I said to my team, I need to go meditate. I don't know why, but I got to go sit. I'm in my bedroom, my hands go up and I see this light. It's almost like I feel like I'm sending someone off. Seconds later, my husband's knocking at the door. Your mom's on the phone. Your grandmother just passed. I said, oh, I know. I helped her. Like I was helping her. And then I'd say, Grammy, show me a sign that you're good. Like, let me know. A week goes by, no sign, because I was busy, whatever. We're busy, we don't get the signs. And so I come in and sit down finally with a girlfriend, and she says, Gabby, before you leave my house, I want you to pull this card from this tarot deck. I really want you to pull this card. And I was like, I'm busy. I got to text my husband, find out what's for dinner. Gabby, I really want you to pull this card. Okay, fine. I pull the card. It's an image of an elderly woman crossing a bridge. And underneath it says, grandmother ensures safe crossing.
This is a view of reality that is absolutely aligned with the beautiful, profound story of your relationship with your grandmother.
Right.
We are expressions of sacred consciousness. You could use the word spirit, use whatever frame of reality is yours. This vision, then, of who we are extensions, we are part of consciousness, like the ray of the sun, and yet in dialogue with consciousness, a dialectic. And every day, we are rays of consciousness in relationship to consciousness. The story you told is very similar to a story I experienced when I conceived in light.
Yep.
So at the edges of life and death, have you felt more attuned to the sacred consciousness? So then who are we for each other?
Mm.
And as fellow rays of the sun, I would call us ambassadors. I would say that we are trail angels. May we do another practice?
Yes, please.
Okay. This practice involves you as a trail angel, but also you as a journeyer. This is a 90-second practice in the language of life. 5 breaths to clear out your inner space, an invitation. I invite you to locate a time where you wanted something so badly. You wanted that job, that opportunity, him or her, them to say yes, and you did everything right. A plus B plus C strategically. You researched it. A plus B plus C, that red door was yours. You go for your red door, you grab the handle, but it's stuck. It makes no sense. You've done everything right, tactically, strategically. You kick the door, you're stunned, maybe even so disappointed, depressed. But only because that red door's stuck, you have no choice. You pivot 30, 60, 120 degrees, and over there is a wide open, sparkling yellow door. You've never heard of yellow doors. You may have not known they exist. On the other side of the yellow door is someone who makes you feel worthy, is a job that makes you feel alive, is a mentor who sees you beyond you've ever known yourself. That yellow door was not what you had wanted. It was far better and better for you. And as you sit back now and you think of the stuck red door and the hairpin turn taking you to the wide open yellow door, was there anyone there at the hairpin turn pointing the way to the yellow door, giving you direction? It could have been someone you met for 2 minutes at the coffee shop. It could have been a mentor, a counselor, a guide, a grandparent who for the first time told you a story. A trail angel pointing you to the wide open yellow door that has everything to do with who you are and where you are today. And finally, as you sit way back, stuck red door, hairpin turn, trail angel, and wide open yellow door, how are the most cherished, profound parts of our lives found? Is it narrowly through hard work and planning? Of course, we have to do our part. But are we less ultimately makers of our path and we're discoverers of our journey? Have you been on a spiritual path all along? And where in your path is your higher power? I welcome you back. Where in your road of life is God, the force? Is your higher power in the open yellow door and the stuck red door? Is your higher power in the trail angel and your ability to be an open system in dialogue with the deepest force of life? We've just been speaking of the sacred consciousness field. You might use the word spirit that is in us, through us, and among us. We are built to be an open system in dialogue with the deepest force of life, the sacred force of life, who I call God.
And then we detour. There's a
Mm.
beautiful message from the text, of Course in Miracles, the descent from magnitude into littleness and the detour into fear. And so as we detour into fear, we choose the red door. Is that what you're saying?
Even when it's stuck.
Even
bang,
when it's
bang,
stuck, we're
bang.
banging on that red door. Yeah.
Headbutting the red door.
Headbutting the red door. But the living with courageous faith is knowing that no matter how hard I butt my head there, if it's not meant for me, it will not find me. And I must just enter that yellow door and be guided, loved, and know I'm never alone.
And the yellow door's out there.
And the yellow door is actually the natural door.
I would even say suffering and depression.
And
stuck on the red door.
Yes, suffering, depression is stuck in the red door.
Yes.
So, Lisa, you say that depression can actually be a knock at the door for a spiritual awakening.
Yeah. Suffering, depression is often when we have blinders on and don't feel and know the presence of the transcendent relationships immediately before us. When I, as an a priori planner, want my red door, and I want that red door so badly that I'm going to kick it and I'm going to rattle it and I'm going to say, hey, what could I do differently? What strategically, tactically have I done wrong? What if I'd said it this way? What if I try again? And does anyone relate to that repetitive, ruminative banging rest? And that is a gift. It is an announcement that there's a yellow door out there for you. There's a shift in a way of being towards opening to the deeper force of life, towards going from closed system, I planned it archivally based on everything I knew from today backwards, that red door and I, to, what is life showing me now? What does God reveal to me now? What does my higher power say? That is a pathway out of depression, because many depressions, about 2/3, not every, 2/3 of depressions are developmental depressions. They are awakening, emerging.
So I have lived with mental illness, undiagnosed anxiety disorders. I've experienced extreme postpartum depression, which also now I understand was perimenopause as well, because I was birthing at 39. And so I am having a biochemical condition, but I'm also having a repressed trauma condition. And so there's a lot of things unpacking there. So when we're having a biochemical condition and that depression, how much is that the blinders on versus the chemistry in the brain?
Right. It's very, very important, because about 1/3 of the time it is the chemistry in the brain.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
But whether or not.
But it also could be impacted by the blinders as well.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Exactly. So whether or not I'm running a chemistry in the brain fix,
Yes.
right, which
Yes.
can very often be medication effectively or
Yes.
some other practice, there is also, for every human journey, the developmental depression, which is banging on the red door as a sign that there is a yellow door for us, that there is a time to open to the road of life, to feel and know that we are loved, to widen the lens and see the light that we're guided, and to know that everyone who shows up counts, and you count as a trail angel.
Postpartum, I'm going into this extreme depression, insomnia, anxiety, agoraphobia. Didn't know what was going on, but I'd been brought up homeopathic. I'd never fulfilled a prescription in my life. I only took little pellets, right? And I was throwing every spiritual practice, every medium, every acupuncture, every herb at this problem. But what my brain needed was probably progesterone and estrogen, which I didn't get to, but it needed it in that moment. It needed an antidepressant. Okay. So this is something that I think God gave me, this gift of this horrific experience. Why? Because sometimes I believe God works through the doctors. I believe God works through the medication. And I think that there are times in life that these medications can actually be seen as symbols of support, right? A support system. And for me, I just want to speak for this, because when we're talking about the brain and we're talking about depression and anxiety and mental illness, and we are in that, what was it, a third you said, or a third of the time we're in a biochemical condition, that the actual experience of taking the medicine, whatever it might be, is actually also creating a safer baseline for you to walk through the yellow door.
Potentiate and move ahead. Yes. Yes.
In the spiritual spaces, not in your space, but in spiritual spaces, and I know I did this, Lisa, was probably for decades shaming mental illness unconsciously, because people would come to me and say, I'm deeply depressed. And I'd say, try this meditation. And when you're telling somebody that has a biochemical condition, try this meditation, that's like saying, go f yourself, right? Excuse my language. But you know what I'm saying? Because in that moment, I understand that now. And I know God said, we need you to know what mental illness is, Gabby, so that you can speak for this. And now there's the other side of that, which is that I'm just going to numb it out and I'm not going to walk through the yellow door. So if you're going to take the pill, also walk through the yellow door. Let it be a vehicle.
And that's very important, because very often many providers will offer a pill, but not the journey through
The majority of the time. The
and
majority
the
of the time.
awakening, right? The yellow door is just another passage in your narrative, but the soul's journey, the deep walk in life, is one of awakening. And we awaken again and again. There is an awakening as often we become parents or committed to care for others, whether we're parents or teachers or guides.
Yep.
There's hardwires awakening. So may I ask a question?
Yes.
Who here felt in emerging adulthood, say at 19, it's often called sophomore slump, a sense of, what is the point of this all?
Yeah, existential crisis. Yes.
Existential
100,000%.
crisis,
Yes.
right? Existential crisis. And is there a meaning to it all? What if there's not? That's a chilly wondering, right? That's hardwired. Just as we have growth spurts physically and cognitively, we have growth spurts spiritually.
100%.
We are naturally spiritual beings, and that is the first of three bridges, an awakening in emerging adulthood. The developmental depression, what is the point? And who am I on earth? And who are you? And is love real? The first time we get our heart broken, it's very easy to ask, is love real? Wait a minute. If love's not real, is anything real? That's an existential crisis of the heart. And through it is the opportunity to gently open, feel the light, start to feel the guidance, and know that that guidance is real. Know that the love built into life itself, the golden thread, is real. This comes back in midlife from what is my meaning and purpose to, am I living my meaning and purpose? How am I treating my family, the people with whom I work? And finally, the elegant ascension to elderhood. It comes back again. There are three bridges. They are hardwired, and we have really cheap names for them. Sophomore slump, midlife crisis. It is not about Ferraris, right? It is about an expansion where the not a good enough feeling that I might have at midlife, it's not that my spouse isn't good enough. It's not that my job isn't good enough. It's that yesterday my way of being was okay, but I'm being called to a bigger way of being, an expanded capacity to perceive the deeper nature of life. That requires a growth.
So Gabrielle is on the other side of that spiritual growth moment. I'm 46 years old. And the last year I've been really having a reckoning of where I am and feeling like I'm not, for the first time ever, like, am I fulfilling what I need to be fulfilling fully? Am I good enough? Like, this is conversations that
that's hardwired.
That's hardwired.
It's hardwired.
Hardwired in a specific moment in life,
Yes.
in a middle-aged moment of life.
Yes.
Am I really fulfilling this life that I'm here to fulfill? And then right here, right now, today, when I announced that I'm Gabrielle, I'm telling you, I am ready to fulfill it. And that's the other side of that reckoning. Is that correct?
This is the expansion,
Yeah.
right? In your deepest seat of being, in your non-narcissistic sacred power.
Yes. Yes. It's so much more fun right here.
It's extraordinary. And it's so exciting.
To be able to feel the sensation of almost like these invisible wings behind you, like these angel wings behind you. And throughout my life, I've felt it in moments. I felt it on stage, or I felt it when I'm writing, or I felt it. But I want to live in that. Another message from A Course in Miracles, there's a way of living in the world that is not here, though it seems to be. And you do not change appearance, but you smile more frequently, and your eyes are soft, and your forehead is serene.
So it is a complete ego death of the first half of life. And it is an awakening to something so much more grand and so full of inspiration and promise, which is the expanded Gabrielle, the deeper perception of being loved, held, guided, and never alone. And in your vision, Gabrielle, and in that which you've always walked, to show up for others as the trail angel, to be loving, guiding, and never leave anyone alone. Both are forms. They both use the awakened brain to be loving, to be guiding, and never leave anyone alone. I call that prayer in action. I call that the deepest form of the sacred walk. And in the second half of life, that is the walk. That is what we are being prepared to offer into the world. We are made so much more. Developmental depression does not shrink us. It is the banging at the door. It is a good sign. Hey, I'm feeling not enoughness. Hey, I'm feeling that withoutness. That is a good sign. I'm lost and without bearings. There's an awakening on the horizon for expanding a more inspired life.
In IFS work, internal family systems therapy, we would talk about that as self, right? Self and awakened brain and God and higher power. It's all the same thing. And in that self energy, it's being able to be more of the witness and to be able to not feel the effect of the thing that otherwise would have triggered us for so long. Now, to step in.
Gabrielle, I have an idea.
Yeah.
So I've been listening and enjoying and really appreciate your internal family systems work.
Yeah.
Putting that into the center of society. And I had a thought, which is perhaps could we bring one of our parts, as you put it, right? Perhaps one of the most pressing at the moment. To counsel.
Yes. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Help people locate a part, and then I'll do the counsel.
Done.
We'll work together.
Done.
Okay.
Oh,
Beautiful.
you're my sister. Love you.
What's going on?
You guys are witnessing some major thing happening here.
God willing.
It's already done.
Through us all.
It's already done. Okay, so just a little brief awareness. When we speak of parts, we're speaking of aspects of ourselves. We have lots of different parts inside of us. They're young. They've been around for as long as we can remember. We might call them controlling. We might call them people pleasing. We might call them addicts. We might have lots of different names for these protection mechanisms. Is anybody familiar with these protection mechanisms in their life? Is anybody familiar with one that you have that's kind of always around and every day you're like, oh, why did I do that people pleasing again? Or why did I fall back into that feeling of being inadequate? We know who they are? We're going to bring that part to our council today. So let's gently close our eyes, making sure that it's a part of us that's more of a day-to-day protection mechanism, which is what we call managers. We're not going to the traumatized little children inside of us today for the sake and the safety of this room. But we're going to go to a part that's just around and it's managing our life. It's a controller, it's a rager, it's a part of us that wants to be perfect. And let's just gently check in inside, focusing your attention inward towards that part. And just take a moment to just tap into where you feel that in your body. And give it a little breath. Just ask a few questions with curiosity. What do you know about this part of you? Are there any thoughts or images or sensation? And when you have a little bit of access to that part, just gently place your hand on your heart and breathe a little bit more space into that part. And as we prepare to introduce this part to our council, gently ask the part, what do you need?
What do you need? And now I invite you, as you're in your inner chamber, to set before you your table. And to your table, you may invite all those who truly have your best interest in mind. And ask them if they love you, living or deceased. Ask them if they love you. And now you may invite your higher self, far more than anything you have or do, your eternal higher self, and ask you if you love you. And now finally, your higher power, God, the universe, however you know, your higher power, and ask if they love you. Ask if they love you. And with all of those people sitting there right now, introduce them to your protector, your part. Introduce them to who you've brought before them. How it feels, and perhaps the image. And ask, what say you? What say you? What might they share? What might they tell you Now, when you're ready, I invite you back.
So the practice is meeting the council regularly.
You can go to council at any moment. If you're in a horrible meeting and you don't want to say something you don't want to say, you can step out for a moment and go to council. And everything is reshuffled. The meaning that speaks to a deeper, wiser part of ourselves, the sacred response to strife, conflict, suffering, to the fractured part,
Yeah.
is right there for you.
The more we develop that relationship and that trust in self, the courage begins to emerge naturally, because self energy is courage, and that faith delivers you that courage.
You already are spiritual. And every moment, particularly the tough ones, are an invitation to awaken your birthright to the real divinity thread through life, to God's ultimate presence.
Let's close this out. Gently close your eyes, calling on the guidance of the highest truth and compassion, our counsel, higher self, self with a capital S. Welcoming in this presence now to hold us in this conversation, to awaken our brain in this moment to the consciousness of walking through that yellow door and trying a little experiment today of consciously choosing that door. Knowing as long as we're walking through that door, we are loved, divinely guided, protected, and directed. And holding the energy in this room that was created today, all the beautiful counsel that came here together to bring you into this room at this time, in this moment. And we invite this counsel to knock on the door regularly and to give us little gentle reminders to tune back in, and to give us little winks from the universe to remind us that we are divinely guided, loved, and protected. To give us direction and a sense of knowing and safety inside. And today we invite this counsel to protect us with the golden shield of light. That's what's meant for me will find me, and what is not mine will be removed. And that I can call back to me any energy I may have lost, and I can release any energy I may have picked up. And in this moment right now, I'm walking through the yellow door and allowing myself and my day to be divinely guided, loved, and protected, and directed. And take a deep breath in. Just allow yourself to be in the presence of that energy for a moment, letting it go. And smile on the inside. Allowing that courage of your faith to guide you today. And know that we love you.
Oh, yeah.
We love you. Take one last deep breath in and let it go. If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.